Hey guys, me again. I'm doing this on the phone today, so give me a bit of a break. Um, should be okay quality wise. Um, the front facing camera probably isn't the best method I could use, but hey. UFC 207 overview. Um, Kind of recapping what happened and what I think about it. So let's start with Dillashaw Lineker. Um, Dillashaw dominated Lineker. It wasn't much of a contest really. It kind of transpired everywhere. And the thing I like about Dillashaw's approach more than anything was he didn't give Lineker an inkling as what he was going to do next. I think that's what made him so strong and so powerful. Kind of my favorite situation of the whole fight, well, situations, because he did it multiple times, were his takedown attempts. His takedown attempts were absolute, they were beautiful. The timing of mixing up one takedown to the other, it threw Lineker off. Like he had no idea what he was going to do, and I think that's Dillashaw's style at this point. It's unpredictable. It's dynamic. It's the footwork is astounding. He again, like I said this in my preview, he reminds me of a snake, and he really is a snake. You know that's how he fights. What does this mean for him? I think he fights the bantamweight champion next, who we're going to get onto in a minute. Um, he fights the champion next. I think he's earned the title shot. I think he's been mistreated by the UFC a little bit, and I think that would only be the fair thing to do in terms of what I think Dillashaw deserves. Um, Lineker, I think he fights someone in the top five or top eight. Um, Tries to rebuild himself again after a loss like that. I mean, he got dominated, to be honest with you. So yeah. Okay, so now we're gonna go on for Cruz Garbrandt. This fight didn't pan out how I expected at all, really. Garbrandt had an approach where I expected him to. Well, what I expected Garbrandt to do was the opposite of what he actually did. I expected Garbrandt to. How can I explain? I expected him to blitz Dominic Cruz, really, really cut off the cage in close distance and just swarm him. He didn't do that. He approached the fight the completely opposite way. What he did was he used really good boxing footwork. It was a boxing display Garbrandt had. In and out really cleverly. Kind of insane head movement and hand speed. Um, Remarkable, absolutely remarkable. No one's ever done that to Dominic Cruz in the same way. He was just picking him off, picking him apart, and it was commendable, to be honest. I didn't think he had it in him. I judged Garbrandt on what I had seen from him before, and I hadn't seen anything like that. Cruz, on the other hand, I think his approach was questionable. He came out afterwards saying, "Oh, he fought his best fight." I disagree with him. Of course, he's going to say that because he doesn't want to look like he's making excuses. But personally, what I think Cruz did incorrectly was he was trying to throw power shots from his specific stance. Now, with his specific stance, in my opinion, nothing is grounded enough to knock people out regularly. It's not, especially because of how he steps. Like a good punch, you're putting with body weight. You're putting, your shoulder is angled, your elbow is slightly tilted. He's not. A lot of the time, he's almost kind of wide stance, and I don't think it works for brawling, and that's frankly what he did. Um, a lot of what I think Cruz needs to change in this regard is just go back to your old style, man, because it works. Evade, pick people off, great footwork, use the cage to your advantage, and he didn't do any of it. I think a lot of it was down to the fact that Garbrandt didn't let him play that game. Because Cruz, I think in his mind, fighting there, said, "Well, I'm the better fighter. I can come after you and I can beat you," and it didn't actually pan out that way. Garbrandt is the champion, and rightfully so. I think Garbrandt will face Dillashaw next, and I think that's a really good contest for them both. I'll do a preview on that when that fight does get announced. I hope that gets announced because I think that's what Dillashaw deserves at this point. Dominic Cruz, on the other hand, will face someone in the top 3 or 4. If he wins, I think he'll be put straight back into that title shot picture, and I think he'll get his belt back. He's too good not to be champion. I think he's top 5 pound for pound easily. Excuse me. Okay, so that's that fight. Next fight is the female bantamweight title between Nunes and Rousey. Amanda Nunes, this fight went exactly how I thought it would. Kind of going into the fight, I think we needed to question Rousey's approach. Why was she coming back? What was her motivation for coming back? And it was to prove people wrong. You can depict that any way you want, really. You could say she did it for herself to prove to people that she could do it. However, you could also say that she did it because she didn't want to go out on a loss, like she did to Holm, and she wanted to get a fight back. She wanted to win her title back. She was going to retire anyway, in my opinion. I don't think she was going to stick around. 48 seconds. That's how long it took Amanda Nunes to dispatch her. Something I really love about Amanda Nunes' approach, and she did this against Miesha Tate as well. Amanda Nunes boxes with full extension to her punches, and what that means is every single shot, regardless of how much power is thrown, it's landed with full power. And Ronda, you could tell as soon as Ronda got hit, her body language was, oh shit, that hurts. What am I doing? This hurts. There were a few failed clinch attempts on Ronda's behalf that Amanda just shrugged off and, whatever, get off of me. Finished her in 48 seconds and shocked the casual MMA world, I'd say. I think there were a lot of casual MMA fans that were watching that, hoping that Ronda Rousey would win. Of course, as you'd expect. She didn't. She got absolutely obliterated, and I'm really happy to see that. Amanda Nunes is a lovely person. She's marketable. She is marketable. Brazilian champion, will be huge in Brazil. Great boxing, great footwork, good jiu-jitsu, very well-rounded. Probably the most well-rounded female fighter in that division, in my opinion. So, what's next for her? Juliana Pena or Shevchenko? That's a great fight. I think the winner of that will end up fighting Amanda Nunes next. As for Rousey, I think she's going to retire. I think it's a time. I'm one of those people that believes she should be inducted into the Hall of Fame for what she's done for female MMA. She's made it big. I mean, dude, it headlined a massive card like that yesterday. It was a huge card, and it was a female fight that headlined it, and only Rousey's going to get that done. She deserves the props where they're due. I don't like the way she conducts a lot of what she does, but hey, that's just her style, and I can't really insult her for that. That's UFC 207 card overview. It's a bit shorter than I normally would do, but that's because I'm on the phone. I hope you enjoyed, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please click that button. There will be more coming from me soon. Some good fights to be announced, and I will review them. Peace out.